I've gone camping my whole life, and before this happened, I always thought the woods were one of the only places where I could really relax. Now I can't even hear a whistle without feeling sick. This happened about 2 years ago, in northern Washington. Me and my two friends, Caleb and Marcus, decided to go on a weekend camping trip before summer ended. Caleb was the one who found the place. It was some deep wooded area a few hours outside the city, hardly any marked trails, no reception, and according to him, almost nobody went out there anymore. That should have been the first red flag, but at the time, it sounded perfect. We got there in the late afternoon. The forest was huge, dense, and unnaturally quiet. Even when we parked and started unloading our gear, it felt like the sound around us just got swallowed by the trees. There were no other cars, no nearby campsites, no voices, nothing. Just us and miles of woods. We hiked in for maybe 40 minutes before finding a decent clearing near a narrow slope. It wasn't an official campsite, but it was flat enough for 2 tents and close to a dried-up fire ring, so we figured other people had camped there before. The first few hours were normal. Honestly, they were great. We set up camp, got fire going, cooked cheap hot dogs, and sat around telling stupid stories while the sun went down. It was one of those nights that felt almost too perfect. The air was cold, the fire was warm, and for a while I forgot how isolated we really were. By around midnight, the fire had burned low. Marcus had already gone into his tent, and Caleb and I were just sitting there half awake, staring into the embers. That's when we heard it. A whistle. It was faint and far away, somewhere deeper in the trees behind us. At first, neither of us said anything. We just looked at each other, waiting to see if we'd both heard the same thing. Then Caleb laughed and said, "Probably another camper." I wanted to believe that, but something about it felt wrong. It wasn't a tune, it was just one short whistle. Sharp, high-pitched, like someone trying to get attention without yelling. We listened for a minute, but nothing came after it, so eventually we brushed it off and went to bed. I was just starting to fall asleep when I heard it again. This time it was closer. I sat up immediately. From the other tent, I heard Caleb unzip his sleeping bag and mumble, "You hear that?" Before I could answer, Marcus called out from his tent, sounding annoyed more than scared. "Whoever that is needs to shut up." Then Caleb, being Caleb, whistled back. Just one quick note, mocking it. For maybe 2 seconds, everything went silent. Then from somewhere in the woods, the exact same whistle came back. Same pitch, same length, same weird little break at the end. Perfectly copied. I still remember the way my stomach dropped when I heard it, because it didn't sound like coincidence. It sounded like something repeating to him. Not answering, not reacting, repeating. None of us said anything after that. We just stayed in our tents, listening. A few minutes later, we heard slow footsteps circling the camp. Not running, not sneaking, just deliberate steps through leaves and dirt. Crunch, pause, crunch, pause. They moved around us for what felt like forever. Every time I thought they'd stopped, I'd hear another step from a different angle. I remember gripping the flashlight so tightly my hands started cramping, but I was too afraid to unzip the tent and look. At some point, I must have passed out from exhaustion. The next morning, all 3 of us came out looking like we hadn't slept at all. Marcus was the first one to notice the footprints. They were all around the tents, not animal tracks, boots, large ones. There had to be dozens of prints in the dirt and soft pine needles, circling us, stopping near the fire pit, and leading right up to the side of my tent. None of us were laughing anymore. Caleb tried to act calm and said maybe somebody was messing with us. Maybe another camper had wandered through. But if that were true, why not say anything? Why walk around our tents in the dark for hours? I wanted to leave right then. I really did. But Caleb convinced us to stay one more night. We'd already hauled all our gear out there, and once the sun was up, the fear from the night before started to feel stupid, explainable, embarrassing even. That was our second mistake. Night came faster than I expected. None of us felt much like talking anymore. We kept the fire bigger that night, and nobody joked around. Every little noise from the woods made us freeze. A branch snapping, wind through the trees. Something was shifting in the dark. By maybe 2 in the morning, we were all in our tents again, pretending to sleep. Then Marcus screamed, not loud for long, just one sharp, panicked yell. I burst out of my tent with my flashlight and saw him standing a few feet away, staring into the trees. "What?" Caleb shouted, stumbling out behind me. Marcus pointed toward a patch of darkness between the trunks. At first, I didn't see it. Then my light caught it. A figure. Tall, thin, standing perfectly still between two trees, maybe 30 yards away. It looked wrong somehow. Too straight, too still, like it had been placed there. I shouted, "Hey!" No answer. The figure didn't move, and then, from somewhere off to our left, we heard the whistle again. Then another one behind us. Then one to the right. Same tone, same pitch, same exact whistle. Not one person, multiple, all around us. Marcus started throwing things into the car bags without even thinking. Caleb kept sweeping the flashlight around, but every time the beam moved, I felt like there were shapes slipping between the trees, just outside the light. The whistling kept happening from different directions, getting closer, answering itself, surrounding us. We didn't even wait for sunrise. We grabbed what we could and ran to the trail with our flashlights shaking in our hands. I don't know how long it took us to reach the car, but by the time we did, the sky was turning gray. None of us spoke during the drive home. A few days later, I looked up the area online, mostly to prove to myself that there had to be some explanation. What I found made it worse. There were old local reports about that forest. Not many, but enough. Hunters are going missing. People hear whistles at night. Search teams finding campsites abandoned with gear still left behind. No bodies, no clear answers. Just people disappearing into the trees. We never went back for the rest of our stuff. And sometimes, late at night, when everything outside is quiet, I still think about that sound, not because it was human, but because it almost was.